So am I saying goodbye to buying luxury in the boutique? Something that I've always stood for, something that I have always professed is the real luxury experience. I'm going to take you through the logical reasons that I see for buying pre-loved and some of the cons, and also the same for buying new in boutique. And then I'm going to finish with my decision. What's my preference? Am I now a pre-loved luxury handbag girly, or am I staying with my old ways? Welcome to you, my name's Dale and this is Dale's Addiction. In today's video I'm going to be discussing whether or not I now prefer pre-loved shopping for luxury over the boutique experience. Now this video came about from my recent Instagram poll where I invited you to suggest bags that I could provide commentary on that you're interested in or that everybody's talking about. And April from April's House of Flair, hi April, asked me about this concept of, let me just get it, my thoughts on pre-loved versus new now that you've gone pre-loved a bunch. And I said, well, I think that's a whole video on its own, and so here is that video. I've actually made some notes because I wanted to be organised in my points for this video. So let's put some context around the year that has been. I'm going to take it back to, say, August last year when I picked up this gorgeous little vintage Fendi baguette in the popcorn raffia and the gorgeous marble buckle. Now this bag I picked up from Una from the Instagram handle at VintageLover83. I will link her in the description box below. A lot of you are now asking me about Una. She's not a consigner, she's not a reseller per se. She's a handbag enthusiast who sometimes comes across beautiful pieces and then sells them. Anyway, back in August last year, that's when I kind of started, I think, this kind of run of purchasing pre-loved luxury pieces. And that bag kind of caught me by surprise because if you know me and my collection, I have a lot of raffia, straw and wicker pieces. I love them. And to see a piece that was vintage, which is not my vibe at all, in such beautiful condition for such a reasonable price started to make me think a little bit differently. And I think that was because I didn't see much come out of last year's raffia collections, really, except for this beautiful Louis Vuitton wicker capucine that I was lucky enough to pick up in Taormina, Sicily, because the one that came to Brisbane was already sold. But my first point is that I tended to go down the pre-loved route when I wasn't vibing with any new releases that were coming into the boutiques. I think that kind of led me to look in different places, that I was open to suggestions from Instagram, my feed, you guys, around pieces that had gone before that maybe, you know, I missed out on. And I've talked about this before, missing out on pieces the first time around. My Chanel 19S by the Sea bag, no way was I going to be able to get this in the boutique, and this was like a sleeping giant in my unwritten luxury wish list for many years, until surprisingly one day it occurred to me that I was ready to go on the hunt for it, and thankfully Rod from the Lux Theory, who I'll link in the description box below, sourced it for me in beautiful, beautiful condition. I also missed this one the first time around. This is the Fendi Small Peekaboo in the beautiful metallic silver. I missed it because I was so caught up on the 25th anniversary of the baguette re-editions. There's no way I would have had capacity, dollars, time or energy to be searching for this at that time as well. And lucky for me, I was able to pick it up for half the original retail price because I wasn't ready at the time, and when I was, the price had dropped. I think another reason that buying pre-loved has taken a spike is because as a nearly 44-year-old woman, I would say that I don't know everything about fashion, the houses that I purchase from, and the history of their designs. And for some of them, I wasn't even in a position where I could possibly be purchasing handbags. The baguette was designed by Silvia Venturini Fendi and launched in 1997. I was 17 years old Was I going to be in a position to buy these beautiful vintage now? Oh God, what does that make me? These beautiful vintage baguettes that were not vintage at the time? Absolutely not. But did I love Sex and the City? Did I love watching TV where people were dressed to the nines? Did I love looking at the pictures in the magazines? Absolutely. Was it even remotely dreamable for me to be purchasing at that point in time? Not at all. Now I can, and the pre-loved market is the way to go because they don't make them like they used to. The pre-loved market provides me with the opportunity to purchase pieces that I'm pretty confident to say I would never ever buy new from boutique. And one of those is this gorgeous Fendi Mini Peekaboo Iconic in the fuchsia crocodile. I picked this bag up earlier this year. It's currently retailing on the Fendi website for like $39,000. I'm pretty confident in saying I don't think I could ever stomach that kind of, you know, purchase. And yet I was able to pick this up for $8,000 and it's absolutely beautiful. And it was just a chance encounter. This is the fun and the thrill of buying pre-loved, is that you never know what's going to pop up and for what price, and whether or not you'll even stumble across it. Now for me, buying pre-loved, there's a few conditions. Typically, I will only buy in excellent condition, and as much as I possibly can, I want the full set, or as close to the full set as possible. Even on some of these older Fendi vintage baguettes, I've got the original dust bag. Like, that is insane. In the little metallic baguette, it had the product card inside of it. Like, I did not expect that at all for a bag that was from, we think, around 2005. For me, I don't shop pre-loved for the bargain first. I shop the bag first. The bargain is a bonus. One of the great things about buying pre-loved at the moment is that the prices are reminiscent of pre-COVID times, like they should be. We shouldn't be paying above retail for last season's bag or a bag from the last decade. That just doesn't make sense. It's a depreciating piece of wardrobe accoutrement. It is not an investment. And we know what these bags are made out of now. By no means are they things that appreciate in value. It's just the scarcity of them that drives the price up, and even that is quite fickle. People are selling perhaps because they bought too hastily, because they are still paying off the debt that they have accrued by purchasing these bags that they probably weren't in a position to purchase. And now, being able to make a more considered decision about buying bags at a better price long after the hype has died down is a good position to be in when you're buying pre-loved. Tends not to be FOMO focused and the last one and you're going to miss out. You can really slow down your decision making, and if you miss out, something else is likely to come along. You know what the price is going to be and you just wait because it was never urgent in the first place. Now, the other thing that's linked to budget is that most places that I buy from that are trusted consigners or resellers insist on a bank transfer, meaning you've got to have the funds. You're paying with real money to purchase these pieces, and so it's more important probably to make a really considered decision as opposed to just handing over the credit card details. Yeah, we all want our points on our credit cards, but I do think that there's something really important and something that's really helpful around paying bank transfer, and that is that we know that that money is going out of our account straight away, whether you pay through savings, whether it's in your monthly budget. Don't ask me about finance. I don't have rules. I just apply common sense and logic. I do think bank transfer is a really clever way to shop, particularly if you know that you've got a tendency to be in a bit of a rush. Let's talk about some of the challenges with buying pre-loved. Obviously, fakes is the first thing that comes to mind. Fakes and high quality fakes as well. And that's why getting your authenticity kind of assured as much as you can by your consigner and reseller, whether they do authentication themselves personally or through a third party, and then potentially doing a secondary authentication yourself to be absolutely sure, just in case there are conflicts in information. You guys know that I recently did a collaboration with legit Grails. The details are down in the description box below, but you can get a discount on authentication services online, and up to 30 minutes is like a really quick one, and other options for cheaper prices. So definitely keep them in mind if you are buying Preloved and you want peace of mind. There's dealing with people that you don't know. If you're not going through a trusted reseller or consigner, you're buying off marketplaces like Poshmark and Facebook Marketplace and eBay, you don't know who you're dealing with. And that can make you feel a bit nervous. And there's nothing worse than handing over the cold hard cash when you're not 100% sure that the bag is what you think it is, or the person is who you think they are. You have poor communications and you read into those. And in addition to that, the services that they use to ship you the bag could be quite dodgy. I know that the handbag housewife, Erin, I know that Meredith from Living Lux with Meredith have both had issues with postage or courier providers who have lost things on the way, and that is pretty scary, particularly if you're a seller, but also if you're a buyer. Sometimes it feels like a thrifted experience. There's no bells and whistles of luxury shopping. And it is rather ironic that we purchase things we call luxury in such a non-luxury way. And I've always said that purchasing from satire is something that I do occasionally when I recognize that I'm not going to get any bells and whistles. It's going to be a pretty, cheap kind of packaging, just thrown in a box with maybe a bit of bubble wrap or some plastic kind of experience. But sometimes you can save up to $1,500, $2,000 and you go, it's worth it for that piece. I kind of have a cutoff point. Anything over a couple of $1,000s I don't think is worth it. Not for me anyway. I think I'd rather pay a little bit extra and be assured of what I'm going to get and the experience I'm going to get. And as Connor says, sometimes you could end up with somebody's stinky old peekaboo, and who wants that? Alright, so the case for buying from boutique for me, new and fresh releases. Sometimes there is such a thrill about being the first to have or own something, to be able to discover it, to be a pioneer on the edge of the season and really experiment with new colours, new styles and shapes. That is definitely a thrill, something that I enjoy about purchasing brand new pieces from the boutique. With good relationships comes good experience. Now, having, mastered the whole process around introducing myself, building relationships, setting expectations, knowing what my boundaries and constraints are, what I'm looking for, what I will use and what I won't use, it's helpful for me to have really transparent and open relationships with sales associates. They know what they're getting, I know what I'm getting, and it makes it a much better experience for both of us. Nobody's wasting anybody's time, and that tends to mean that setting up appointments is easy. Appointments are efficient. They've thought through what I might like. I might even get a little glass of champagne or two. It helps the shopping go down, right? I've even had sales associates who have helped me by photoshopping bags onto my outfits of the day on Instagram to show me how the bag might work with different parts of my wardrobe. I mean, is that service or what? And I didn't ask for that. I love the occasion of luxury shopping. Making an appointment, getting dressed, having your plan, going to shop, perhaps going to lunch and considering your options, and then going back and picking up your final decision. I love that part of the process, I really do. The packaging and the whole experience, sending you on your way with a big old bag and a box inside and tissue paper and ribbons. I mean, it all seems superfluous, but in many ways that's what differentiates luxury shopping from shopping anywhere else, and I love it. How about you? Then there's the getting home and the unboxing. Before YouTube, I used to love just getting home and having a moment to kind of slowly open and savor my boxes. I still do that now in front of a camera, but sometimes I can't wait for you guys. Sometimes I just need to get in and have a look, and I don't want the joy of that experience to be, what do you call it, like bottlenecked or choked because I want to do an original unboxing on YouTube. To me, that takes away from the whole experience. Like if I go somewhere and I purchase something, I want to see it there and then. When you see it, you know, could be in the future. Maybe I do a live unboxing. Maybe it's pretty dodgy. But I'm not going to let my schedule here stop me from enjoying the thing that I've just purchased. Now, the downers around boutique shopping. The relationship and hence the service are not guaranteed. So many people sadly have shared with me that they've had terrible experiences in boutiques, both here in Australia and abroad, where they haven't felt valued, they have felt dismissed, they have felt judged, they have made purchases and still not been offered the hospitality that other people enjoy, and can't seem to figure out why that's the case. And I don't know what goes into that from a store's perspective. I would have thought consistency of experience would be the number one thing that would have people coming back. But it doesn't seem like that is the case, and therefore that is, you know, one of the downers of boutique shopping. Obviously the prices are insane and they keep growing. And you look at the prices of the pieces and you think nothing has fundamentally changed here, and you seem to have plenty of stock, so this is not a scarcity issue. I'm not getting gold-plated hardware, so this is not a quality matter. In fact, you could argue that quality in some cases has gone down. So what are the prices being increased for? Is it the manufacturing process? I mean, we've heard a lot about that recently. I don't think that's costing them an arm and a leg. So that is something that really you need to have an idea of what prices look like before you even head into the boutique, because otherwise you will be rudely awakened. There's other customers. There's other people around. I don't know about you, but I don't like people hovering around me. I remember buying this Louis Vuitton favourite when I came back from Spain back in, what was it, 2018, and I was saying to my sales associate that I'd been all around Europe and I'd just been looking for this really basic Betty bag and I couldn't find it anywhere. And she said, I've got one here. And I'm like, are you kidding? Anyway, she pulled it out and I looked at it. I think the price was like $1,400, like an absolute bargain. And I purchased the longer strap to go with it so that it would crossbody on me at the right length. There were women hovering around me waiting for me to pass this up. They didn't come in to look for it, but because I had it, they wanted it. And I'm like, oh, this is so awkward. And I have to say, this has happened to me more so in Louis Vuitton and Chanel than anywhere else, where there's been people kind of hovering around. And I would think that the sales associates could say to them, could you please give my client some space to make a decision? And then if you're interested in this piece, I can, you know, work with my colleague and you can have a look at it. But that doesn't happen. And then there's a new issue that's come to the fore around boutique shopping, which is all the scary MFers that are coming into boutiques and stealing merchandise and threatening staff and threatening customers in large-scale shopping centres and off-street boutiques. It's horrible to think that you could be going out for a wonderful day and somebody's going out to grab a heap of bags and sell them on the black market, like with force. That is not a very good feeling, and it's definitely affecting people feeling safe to shop luxury. And I've certainly noticed that through the conversations that I've been having with the boutiques that I visit here in Brisbane. So I've presented the case. Am I saying goodbye to boutique shopping in favour of pre-loved shopping for luxury? I would love to say yes, but the reality is, for me, it's always been about the whole experience. I think I've mastered the art of the relationship, as I said before, which means I tend to get very consistent service and I have a really enjoyable time because of that. I am much more considered in what I purchase brand new, in terms of I'm looking for treasures and really unique pieces, and so therefore the amount of things that I buy new at boutique is a lot smaller, but it's more considered. And because it's more considered, I pay less visits, which means when I do make a visit, it's usually with a purpose in mind. I'm not going just to look around. As I said before, this year there hasn't been too much that has really appealed to me in terms of new releases at boutique, and so I've gone looking elsewhere for my luxury buzz, and I'm so glad to have found it in some of the beautiful pre-loved pieces that I have picked up this year. And I will do a pre-loved collection video. I'm super pleased with those pieces that I've picked up because I couldn't get them the first time around. I would never have purchased them in the boutique, or I just wasn't aware of their existence until well after they'd been released. So I think it's a nice compliment to have the option for both. I am going to Paris in November. I am going to be looking in boutiques, yes, but I'm not making appointments. Let me counter that. I'm not making appointments everywhere just in case I want something. I will have an appointment at Louis Vuitton and hopefully I get an appointment at Hermes. But other than that, I'm not interested in making appointments anywhere else. I don't want to show commitment. If I do become interested in a piece, I will go in, I will make a relationship, and then I will go back another time so that I am ensured of having that experience. I think you just have to slow things down a little bit more to really get the best out of the luxury boutique experience. That's my experience anyway. I will keep my eye on the pre-loved market because it really does have some absolute treasures. It's also very dangerous because when you are not expecting to find something that you like or that you thought you could ever get your hands on, or the price is too crazy to be true, you're put between a rock and a hard place. And for me, the impulsive, you know, crazy woman in me just goes, I'll take it. And I think, yeah, that's the danger of having all of these apps and Instagram pages just popping into your feed saying, buy me, buy me, buy me. So yeah, any surprises there? What's your perspective? What's your preference? Has it changed over time? Do you do a bit of both? Do you have a preference for one over the other? Or you are exclusively in one camp? Love to know in the comment section down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe. I would love to see you back for the next one. Until then, ciao.